Foundation or higher GCSE? It seems like a simple choice, right? But what if I told you there's way more to it than just grades? It's not just foundation versus higher, it's about a system that decides what your child's allowed to aim for. This isn't just about exams, it's about your choices, your future, and how to make the system work for you. In this video, we'll discuss what even is higher and foundation, why it seriously matters more than you think, who decides and why it might not be fair, and what's actually right for your child. For those of you who are new to the channel, hi, I'm Varjod, I'm the founder of Mobile Tutors, and every year we help thousands of students increase their GCSE and A-level grades. I scored 98% in most of my GCSE and A-levels, and I hold a first-class degree from the London School of Economics in Business, Maths and Statistics. So let's get into it. So firstly, what even is higher and foundation? Let's start with the basics. In some subjects, mainly science and maths, the GCSE is split into two levels, foundation or higher. The foundation tier covers more basic material, and the highest grade you can get is a grade 5. On the other hand, the higher tier covers more advanced level content. However, it also comes with more risk. You can get up to a grade 9 on the paper. However, if you struggle, you could end up with a U. Just to make it clear, the foundation paper caps your grade at a grade 5. Even if you get 100% on the paper, you cannot achieve a grade 6, 7, 8 or 9. The foundation tier is not designed to test that. Also, it's important to note that this does not apply to English. English does not have a foundation or higher tier. Now let's discuss why it seriously matters more than you think. Now here's where it gets real. Choosing between higher or foundation isn't just about the grades they get on results day, it can actually impact their future options in a big way. For example, if your child's considering A-levels, then many sixth forms have a minimum entry requirement of a grade 6 in key subjects. Now this is a problem if your child's doing foundation, as this will cap their grade at a grade 5, and this would mean they won't be able to apply to these sixth forms. And maybe your child doesn't know what they want to do yet, and that's completely normal. However, choosing foundation would close doors and paths that they didn't even know existed. Now let's take the top universities for example. I studied myself at the London School of Economics, and LSE have a minimum GCSE maths requirement of a grade 6 to study courses like economics, business and social sciences. If your child sits foundation maths, that opportunity is gone. It doesn't matter how bright your child is or how hardworking they are. They won't be able to apply to these universities. So put simply, the decision between higher and foundation could impact which universities your child can apply for later on. Now, all of this being said, it's important to note that the higher tier is more demanding. And if your child is struggling with a subject, then the foundation tier might be suitable for them to secure a strong pass instead of overwhelming them with difficult content. If you're enjoying this video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're new, and also share. Now let's discuss who decides and why that might not be fair. Now schools usually base this decision on a combination of three things: how confident they feel your child is, your child's mock results, and also your child's classroom performance. So in many schools, the top sets are automatically placed into higher tier and the lower sets are automatically placed into foundation tier. Now this is often without much discussion. Even if your child wants to aim for higher, the school might not necessarily enter them because they might feel that your child is not confident with the pace and content of the higher curriculum. When year 10 starts, it's actually much harder for your child to move up to the higher tier. Now why, you might be asking, but the main reason is because the higher and foundation content diverges as they progress from year 10 to year 11. Now if your child starts with foundation, they'll likely miss many of the higher topics that have been covered in the higher set. But even if your child improves later, moving up might not be possible without your child falling behind all of the other students. Now, all of this being said, there's many things that you can do to support your child and also influence this decision early on. Now, firstly, your child should take mock exams seriously. This isn't just about practice, but it's how the school views your child's ability. Now, secondly, have open conversations with teachers. If your child is aiming for the higher tier, let the teachers know so that they can support your child early on. And lastly, plan for your child's future and not just the present. The foundation tier might be easier if your child is struggling with a subject or not confident. However, if your child has future goals that require higher grades, then it's important to plan this ahead. It's important to not let your child's comfort zone affect their future opportunities. Ultimately, this decision is about the long-term potential of your child. It's important that the system does not underestimate your child's ability. So what's the right choice? Higher or foundation? Well, the truth is that the school ultimately decides which tier your child is doing. But as a parent, you still have influence if you're informed and involved earlier on. Now, the answer to this question depends on your child's strengths, goals, and confidence. But here's a simple guide. Now, foundation might be the right choice for your child if they're struggling with the subject and they're finding the content overwhelming. Now, foundation could also be the right choice if your child wants to secure a strong pass, which is a grade 4 or 5, without the overwhelm from difficult topics. And lastly, if your child doesn't plan to take the subject on beyond GCSE level, then the foundation tier might be more suitable for them. Now, the higher tier, on the other hand, might be better for your child if they are fairly confident with the subject and they can handle a faster pace and more complex content. Also, the higher tier is a better option if your child is aiming for a grade 6 or above, which would open up the doors to many A-levels. And lastly, the higher tier is better for your child if they need this subject in future plans, for example, in certain university applications. So finally, the decision isn't about the easy or hard route, it's about the path that opens the most doors for your child. So talk to your child's teachers, ask them questions, and make sure the decision reflects your child's potential and not just their current performance. Overall, I believe that any child is capable of doing the higher tier as long as they have enough time to prepare. And that's exactly why we help thousands of students transition from the foundation to higher tier. As with most subjects, it's about learning the content and doing the exam practice. But we'll go over this in another video. Thanks for watching.